Before I start my story, please support the channel by subscribing, liking this video, and turning on post notifications. God bless you. My name is Daniel Lewis Scott, and I am a firefighter. In the year 2000, I had a near-death experience that changed my life forever. A trip through the afterlife where I was shown amazing truths about our world and what comes after. I was on duty one night, fighting a fierce blaze. The heat was overwhelming, and in the midst of the chaos, something happened. I lost consciousness, and the doctors later said I was clinically dead for a short time. I remember nothing of the panic or the noise. All I recall is a sudden stillness, as if the world around me had stopped. Then I found myself floating above my own body. I could see the firefighters working hard, and I knew I had to be somewhere else. It was as if my soul had left my body and was now free to travel. I felt no fear, only a deep, calming peace that I had never known before. I began moving along a long, winding path, and everything around me was bathed in a soft, gentle light. The air was cool and filled with a feeling of love and safety. I felt as if I was moving through a place where time did not matter. There were no clocks, no rush, just an endless journey. As I continued, I saw images of my life flash before me, moments of courage on the fire ground, the laughter of my crew, and the quiet prayers of hope that kept me going through the toughest nights. Yet, I also saw what seemed like a mirror of life on Earth, a place filled with both beauty and sorrow. I recall seeing a group of souls gathered together in a vast, open field. They looked peaceful and happy, and some even reminded me of the people I had lost. It was as if I was given a chance to see that life does not end with death, but moves on to a place of healing and understanding. I could sense that there was a deep truth in this place, a truth that connected all living things together. At that moment, I knew that my journey had a purpose. I was being shown the path of life and death, not to scare me, but to help me understand that every life, including mine, is part of a much larger story. I felt a great sense of love and comfort, like a warm blanket wrapping around my soul. It was a feeling that told me I was not alone and that there was hope beyond the pain of this world. I still remember the last image before I began to be pulled back, an endless horizon of soft golden light where all the souls seemed to be moving together in peace. I felt as if I was meant to be there, but I also knew there was work left for me on Earth. That is the beginning of my story, a journey beyond our physical world that showed me the beauty of our true dimension and the hope that awaits us all. As I stood in that vast, open space filled with peace, I became aware of something. No, someone near me. It was a presence beyond words, something I could not see with my eyes but could feel with my entire being. It was powerful yet gentle, overwhelming yet comforting. This presence knew everything about me, every thought, every emotion, every single experience I had ever had. It was as if my entire existence had been laid bare before it, yet there was no judgment, only love. A love so pure and deep that it filled every part of me, washing away any fear or doubt I had left. I wanted to ask questions, but before I could even form the words in my mind, answers started coming to me. Not in spoken words, but in a way that I simply understood. My mind felt expanded, as if I had been blind my whole life and was now suddenly seeing everything for the first time. Then something incredible happened. The space around me shifted, and in an instant, I was no longer just standing in that peaceful place. Instead, I was floating above what looked like the Earth. But it was different. Not like how you see Earth in pictures from space. It was alive with energy, filled with light and movement beyond what human eyes could normally see. I saw glowing lines of energy running through the world like veins carrying life itself. I realized these were not just physical things, but spiritual connections between all living beings. Every single human, every animal, every tree, and even the air and water, all were connected by this unseen force. Then I saw something that shook me to my core. I was shown how human emotions, our thoughts, our words, our actions affected this energy. Every feeling we had created a ripple, spreading out and influencing everything around us. Love, kindness, and gratitude created a warm, golden light that spread like a healing force, strengthening the connections between everything. It was beautiful, like watching the sun rise over an endless ocean of glowing energy. But then I saw the other side of it. I was shown what happens when people give in to hatred, fear, greed, and cruelty. The energy darkened, turning into thick clouds that spread through the world, suffocating the light. I saw entire cities covered in this darkness, and I understood that this was not just a metaphor. This was real. Every negative thought, every act of selfishness, every time we hurt someone or held on to anger, it fed into this darkness, making it stronger. I realized that humanity was constantly creating this battle between light and darkness, not some far-off war between angels and demons, but a war happening every single day in our hearts and minds. And most people had no idea they were even part of it. The presence with me allowed me to see deeper into this truth. I was shown moments in history where great pain and suffering had spread across the earth, not just because of physical events, but because of the energy that people had allowed into the world. Wars, oppression, destruction, these things were not just about politics or greed. They were fueled by the collective emotions of mankind. The more people fed into fear and hatred, the more the darkness grew, influencing others, creating cycles of suffering that repeated over and over. But then I was shown the other side, the power of light, of love, of true goodness. I saw people who had chosen to be kind even when they were surrounded by cruelty. I saw those who forgave even when they had every right to hate. I saw small acts of love, smiling at a stranger, helping someone in need, standing up for what is right. All of these things sent waves of light into the world, breaking through the darkness. At that moment, I understood something so simple yet so powerful. The world we live in is a reflection of the energy we put into it. Everything we do matters. Every thought we have, every word we speak, every action we take, it all creates something. We are either adding to the light or feeding the darkness. There is no in between. I wanted to ask, how can we fight this darkness? How can we help the world? And as if the presence knew my thoughts, I was shown something even more incredible. I saw people who had made the choice to live with love and faith, and I saw how their light grew stronger than any darkness. Some of these people were known as great spiritual leaders, but others were just ordinary people, parents, teachers, workers, strangers passing by. It didn't matter who they were. What mattered was what they carried inside them. Then I saw something that changed me forever. I saw myself, my own life, my choices, my struggles. I saw the times when I had fed into darkness with my own fears and mistakes. But I also saw moments where I had chosen kindness and love. And for the first time, I truly understood how much my life mattered, not just to me, but to the world. I was filled with an overwhelming sense of responsibility. I knew that if I was given another chance to return, I could not live the same way. I had to be different. I had to make sure that I was adding to the light, not the darkness. Then, as I was still trying to process everything I had seen, the presence spoke to me, not with words, but directly into my soul. You have seen the truth. What you do with it is up to you. And with that, everything around me began to shift again. The earth, the energy, the vision of light and darkness, it all started fading. I felt as if I was being pulled back, drawn away from the place I had been. I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay, to learn more, to ask more questions. But I could feel something changing, and I knew that my journey wasn't over yet. I was about to be shown something even greater, something that would change my understanding of life, death, and eternity itself. As I felt myself being pulled away from the vision of Earth's energy, I realized I was moving towards something even more incredible. The light ahead of me grew brighter, warmer, and more powerful. It wasn't just light, it was alive. It radiated a love so deep and overwhelming that I felt like I was melting into it. Every worry, every doubt, every ounce of fear inside me disappeared. And then I saw him. Jesus. He stood before me, dressed in a glowing white robe, his presence more powerful than anything I had ever experienced. His eyes were full of love, pure, unconditional love. I had seen bright lights before, I had felt peace, but this was something beyond words. This was home. As I stood in front of him, I couldn't move. Not because I was afraid, but because I was in complete awe. The love coming from him was like an ocean, washing over me, filling me in a way I never thought possible. I wanted to fall to my knees, but he reached out and placed his hand on my shoulder. The moment he touched me, an energy so pure and powerful surged through me. It wasn't just warmth, it was life itself. I don't remember speaking out loud, but I felt my soul cry out, "Lord, why am I here?" And then, without words, he answered, The space around us changed, and suddenly, I was standing in what I can only describe as a life review. But this wasn't like watching a movie. It was as if I was stepping into every moment of my life all over again. I could see everything. The choices I had made, the things I had done, the way I had treated others. But it wasn't just about seeing. I felt it all. Every good deed, every act of kindness, every time I had shown love, I could feel the impact it had, not just on the people I helped, but on the world itself. But then I saw the other side. I saw the moments where I had hurt people, times when I had spoken in anger, when I had been selfish, when I had ignored someone in need. And here's what truly shocked me. I felt the pain I had caused. It wasn't to punish me, it was to teach me. I suddenly understood that nothing we do is meaningless. Every action, every word, every thought, it all creates ripples that affect the world around us. Then Jesus showed me something even more incredible. I saw moments in my life where I had struggled, times when I had felt lost, alone, and broken. And in those moments, I saw Him. Every time I had thought no one was there for me, He was there. Every time I had felt like giving up, He was holding me up. Every tear I had cried, He had seen it. I was overwhelmed with emotion. I wanted to say, Lord, I'm sorry. I didn't know. But before I could even finish that thought, He spoke, not with words, but directly into my soul. I have always loved you. That's when I truly understood. Jesus doesn't just love us when we are perfect. He loves us even in our failures, even in our weakness. His love isn't something we earn. It's something He freely gives. And then He asked me something that changed everything. Do you want to go back? The question shook me. Go back? Go back to my body? Back to the world I had left behind? Part of me didn't want to. How could I leave this love, this peace? How could I return to a world filled with pain and suffering? But then I saw my family. I saw my wife, my children, my friends. I saw the people I had yet to meet, the lives I had yet to touch. And I understood. I still had work to do. My journey wasn't over. I looked at Jesus, and with all the love in my heart, I said, yes. He smiled at me, and without another word, He reached out His hand. The next moment, I was falling back through the light, back through the energy, back through everything I had just seen. I felt my spirit reconnect with my body, and suddenly gasped for air. I was back in the hospital, back in the physical world. I opened my eyes and saw the doctors and nurses around me. They were in shock. One of them said, "We lost you." But I knew the truth. I hadn't been lost. I had been found. I had seen the afterlife. I had stood before Jesus Christ, and I had been given a second chance. When I opened my eyes in the hospital bed, the room was spinning, and my body felt heavy like I had been carrying a massive weight. The doctors and nurses were standing over me, their faces filled with shock. One of them whispered, "We lost you." I could barely process what was happening. Just moments ago, I had been standing before Jesus, surrounded by pure love and peace. And now I was back in this broken world, lying in a hospital bed, struggling to breathe. As I lay there, I heard the beeping of the heart monitor. I could feel the stiffness in my body, the dull pain of returning to my physical form. But more than anything, I could feel something different inside me. I had changed. Everything I had seen, Jesus, the afterlife, the truth about our world, was still fresh in my mind. I could still feel His touch on my shoulder, hear His voice saying, "I've always loved you." I knew, beyond any doubt, that God was real, that heaven was real, and that our lives had a purpose far greater than we could ever imagine. A nurse leaned down and asked, "Daniel, can you hear me?" I turned my head slightly and nodded. My throat was dry, but I managed to whisper, "I saw Him." Tears filled my eyes as the weight of what had happened hit me. I had died, I had left my body, and I had been brought back. But why? As I recovered in the hospital, memories of my experience kept flooding back. I remembered standing before Jesus, feeling the overwhelming power of His love. I remembered my life review, where I saw the impact of every action, every word, every choice I had ever made. I remembered seeing the truth about our dimension, how everything on earth was connected by energy, and how the choices we make either bring more light or more darkness into the world. Most of all, I remembered what Jesus asked me. "Do you want to go back?" I had said yes, but now I wondered what that meant. As I lay in my hospital bed, I started to understand why I had been sent back. My experience wasn't just for me. It was for everyone. I had seen the spiritual battle that was taking place in our world. I had seen how every choice we make either brings us closer to God or pulls us away. I had seen how love, kindness, and forgiveness create ripples that change the world for the better. But I had also seen the darkness, the way fear, hatred, and selfishness spread like poison, trapping people in spiritual blindness. And I knew my job was to tell the truth. I wasn't sent back just to return to my normal life. I was sent back to share my experience, to let people know that heaven is real, that Jesus is real, and that our choices matter more than we realize. At first, I was afraid. I thought, who's going to believe me? What if people think I'm crazy? But then I remembered how much Jesus loved me, even in my failures, even in my mistakes. And I knew it didn't matter what people thought. What mattered was that I told the world what I had seen. The message for all of us. Now that I'm back, I see life differently. Every moment is precious. Every person I meet is important, and every choice I make has a spiritual impact. Here's what I learned from my near-death experience. 1. God is real, and His love is beyond anything we can imagine. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, He loves you. There is nothing that can separate you from His love if you seek Him. 2. Heaven is real, but so is hell. I didn't share all the details of what I saw, but I can tell you this. There is light and there is darkness. Heaven is more beautiful than words can describe, but there's also a place of suffering for those who reject God's love. 3, we are here for a reason. Life is not random. Every single person has a purpose. You are here for a reason, and your actions matter more than you realize. 4, love and kindness create ripples that change the world. The good we do, even the smallest act of kindness, has an impact that spreads beyond what we can see. But the same is true for negative actions. Every choice either brings more light or more darkness into the world. 5, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. When I stood before Him, I knew instantly that He is the only way to the Father. It wasn't a matter of religion or belief, it was truth. If you seek Him, you will find Him. If you call out to Him, He will answer. I don't know how much time I have left on this earth, but I do know one thing. I will spend the rest of my life sharing this message. I was given a second chance, and if you're listening to this, it's because you're being given a chance too. A chance to seek God. A chance to live with love. A chance to make your life count. Jesus saved me not just from death, but from spiritual blindness, and He can do the same for you. If you take nothing else from my story, remember this. God loves you, your life has a purpose, and the choice is yours. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on post notifications so more people can hear this message. God bless you.